Welcome to the Made for Money podcast, where feminine wisdom meets financial power. I'm your host, Christine Walsh, financial strategist for women entrepreneurs, fractional CFO, speaker, and author of the best-selling book, Be the Queen of Your Money, and guide for women who are rewriting their money stories and unapologetically rising into their wealth. Let's do this. Hey, welcome back to Made for Money with Christine Walsh. I'm Christine Walsh, and this week we are talking about your financial identity. And it brings me back to when I thought about starting the podcast, about the 3 questions that I went through about starting this podcast. And it definitely hits what the topic is around your financial identity. So the questions was, how much fun can I have with this podcast? Which is one of my top values. How messy can I make it? Because I know my own identity is around perfection. And how meaningful can I make it? Because that's part of my purpose in sharing stories about women and money. How fun can I make it? How messy can it be? And how meaningful can it be? And this week's riff on Made for Money, of course, hits all 3 again. Over the past several weeks, we've talked about, and I've talked about, financial sobriety in episode 6, financial safety in episode 8 last week. Obviously some pretty serious stuff. And now I'm pulling in financial identity. And yes, it still gets to be funny, messy, and of course, meaningful. And I wanted to start with a reminder of my financial identity, which I shared episode 1, 2, somewhere in and around there, probably will continue to. I grew up in New York City, hence the nasal New York accent every so often, or all the time. And I was groomed to go to business school because, as my mother instructed, don't go to fashion school, Chrissy, which is my name growing up, which also going to fashion school was my dream in high school. She said, go to business school and you can buy all the clothes you want. Well, business school it was. Off I headed as the good little Catholic schoolgirl that I was. And fast forward 12 years from then, after I graduated with a degree in international finance and accounting, living out in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, which is where I still live today, I find myself in my own perfect storm of financial debauchery, perhaps. No job. I'm on unemployment. My house is foreclosing on me. And of course, I have an ego identity at the time that wasn't about to live this all down. And I'm supposed to be the money expert. And so here I am sitting in my own shame soup. I was so embarrassed to tell anyone about what was going on because of this ego identity falsely holding me together. So yeah, maybe not funny, haha, but definitely funny, true, and quite messy. So what I noticed was this actually, as I reflect back on it, wasn't actually breaking. What was breaking wasn't really my finances. It was me and my identity as the responsible, smart money woman who wasn't. So again, not funny, haha, but funny because it's true. So raise your hand if as long as you're safely not driving. Raise your hand if you want to change your relationship with money finally this year in 2026, and raise it high. And then raise both of them if you wanted to do the same thing last year and perhaps the year before. Funny, right? We do this. And whether it's hitting financial goals, paying down debt, investing more, saving 6 months of living expenses, or having 3 months of runway in your business, more profit, all the things, right? Amidst the socioeconomic chaos that is going on in our world, maybe you come to the point where you're just like, God, this sucks. Maybe I just skip the whole financial resolution thing and go straight to stop using my phone and scrolling at 7 p.m. in the evening, or all those things that seem so much easier than dealing with our money stuff. So let me remind you, or let me tell you, that this gets to be easy. It gets to be fun. It could be messy. That's okay. I'm here. I got your back. And that the secret sauce, which some of you may know, this is a reminder to us earning more, to us saving more, to us spending more in alignment, to investing more, to keeping more, has to do with definitely getting aware for sure, right? That financial sobriety I talk about in episode 6, financial safety, how much you can hold, like hold in your body, in your containment. Is it safe to make more money? Is it safe to spend more? Is it from a grounded place? In episode 8. And then here's this last piece that's really, really crucial is our financial identity. And the financial identity, as you probably sense, isn't about what you want with money. It's who you believe you are allowed to be with that money. So here's the thing. You want a new reality with money, and more importantly, aligned with your values and your purpose. We can make more money. We're entrepreneurs. However, making money just to make money isn't super fun. I know that for myself. I know that for my clients. We wanted to have alignment. Even if we're not consciously aware of that, we want to know, that we are stewarding this money aligned with our values, with our purpose, and that we're supported by the money. This is typically an unconscious thing. So I'm just bringing it to the light where we can access. That's where that peace of mind comes in around money. So we got to start with the financial identity. And your past financial identity, whatever has gotten you to this point, will predict your future financial picture until you decide to change it. And that's why I want to bring it up today. And we get to do this. We could do this quickly. So we're going to do this today. We're going to get into it. I want you guys to have a pen and paper around and think about it. What if we stopped setting financial goals just for a moment and started thinking about what we want from the place of who we get to be in achieving that goal? That's exciting to me. And if you're here listening to Made for Money, you're probably in the same place. You're into personal development, personal growth, financial growth, and they all go together. So what if we stepped into the identity of the person that is excited about what they will become in going after their goals from that identity, and then we look through the lens of that person at decision making around our finances, about goals, about spending, etc., what might change. So, all right, let's build this new financial identity, and let's see how much fun we can have with this and how messy it might be. And you're here, I'm here, I got your back. So we inextricably will grow personally when we choose to grow financially. And I think we grow in lots of ways. Our choice to grow financially from almost from an emotionally intelligent way, which I'll speak to, I think, in next week's episode, is actually one of the most powerful ways to grow and quickest. So I got your back here. Let's get into it. Grab pen and paper because I'm going to walk you through some exercise and a little bit of homework for you. So let's meet your financial self the Christine Walsh way. All right. I'm going to ask you several questions. So just kind of take a moment. You can pause the podcast whenever you feel you need a little space and time to consider these questions I'll be asking. And if your current financial identity had a nickname, what might it be? If your current financial identity had a nickname, what would it be? And I'm pausing. I have a money archetype quiz, and you can find it on my website, rebelrisefinance.com. But some of the archetypes, if you will, identities, could be the avoider, could be the responsible one, could be the controller. Hello, Christine, at times. Could be the hopeful manifester, could be the secretly ashamed one. Hello, Christine, again. Could be the overgiver. Or maybe it's the high earner, low safety woman. If your financial identity, current financial identity, had a nickname or an identity archetypal sense to her, what might that be? And when you have a name, just write it down. Good, good. So next piece is, where does she hang out in your body? Where does this current financial identity, and you'll know how she rises up when you look at your bank account, when you look at your P&L for the year and noticed you didn't hit your goals. Like, is it in the gut? Is it in like a heavy stomach? Is it in your ears burn or your jaw clenches? Is it in your neck, throat area, or your shoulders tense up, right? It's all up in your shoulders. Sensation is the key here. I love pulling in sensation to these types of exercises because it's a way for us to step into something different, but it pulls the body in as well, right? We have to have the body on board. So make sure not to skip this step. Identify where in the body this current financial identity, that when it gets activated, hangs, and write that down. All right, good. Now, next, here's the reconciliation, if you will, the integration in two simple but very, very meaningful, powerful words, which I know you will recognize. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This current financial identity, whatever her nickname is, has kept you safe all these years. So why not all love? And feeling that gratitude for the part of you that's gotten you here this far in your financial world. All right, good. Thank you for doing that, because that's huge. This is just a big piece of this. And I want you to feel a sense of gratitude. Doesn't have to be like full on celebration, but some sense of like, yeah, it's gotten me this far, and now I'm here to do something different with it. All right. So now imagine the version of you who can actually hold the money you say you want. Like it was meant for her. Like it was the best fitting, gorgeous jacket, coat, shoes. It was meant for her. The money she wants, and it's meant for her. Like she owns it. Imagine that version. And imagine how she relates to money, how she makes decisions. So you're going to be feeling this. How does she feel before she logs into her bank account? How does she feel when she gets paid or she receives money? And the invitation here is not to be perfect or fearless, but to feel grounded, like a woman who's made for money. I know she's in there. All right, fun piece here. What's her nickname? What's her nickname? And just write down what was notable, write down what you felt as you stepped into her version or you imagined her version. Note her nickname, whatever feels notable here. All right, not done yet. I got a couple more things to play with. What needs to change for you to internally become her? So this can be kind of a big question, but just some thought prompts around, and you can come back to her or feel into it later, or this week, later this day, whatever. What needs to change for you internally to become her? And you want to write this down. Like, what's the first thought, best thoughts? My favorite thing with these kind of questions, even when they're pretty big, but perhaps it's honesty. Perhaps it's humility, more self-trust, more boundaries, more openness to receptivity, more asking for what you need, a whole nother podcast topic. But this is the thing that's so amazing about working with y'all women. You know what needs to change. And then ask yourself where it could be where do you feel resistance to her becoming? Where do you feel resistance to her becoming? All right, good. Note what's important to you here, because now you have some homework, some Christine homework in the next 24 hours. I don't want you to change anything about your finances. I don't need you to get into signing up for Wall Street Journal and reading that every day or anything like that. It could be. I just want you to make one decision as the version of you in this upgraded financial identity. And just one example, just one. Examples could be, though, look at your numbers without judgment. I often would say, bring the numbers up and just the facts, ma'am. Oh, it's just a number. I'm not making any meaning about it. I'm not making it a big deal. And you move on with the day, right? Ask for what you want when it comes to purchasing something. Do you want something to be a little different when you're thinking about buying something? Obviously, this is a bigger purchase kind of thing. I don't know if you're on Amazon, you'd be asking for something different. But if you're considering a purchase, what do you need that you're not asking for? Perhaps delaying a purchase. Really feeling into that. Saying no if you may be an overgiver identity. Making a purchase that feels very in alignment with your truest value and not from fear. This is making a business decision from a place of what would that future financial identity, how would she make that decision versus the current one? That's such a good one. This is the practice, my friends. And this is your initiation. So congrats, because I see your financial identity peeking out and she looks amazingly good on you. All right. So note that one decision that you'll make or consider it. And I'm here for it. So I would love to hear what your decision is. So reach out to me. You can the contact details are below in the show notes. And until next week, if you like what you heard, be sure to follow the podcast. This is the short and sweet on money every week. And if you feel compelled to leave a review, I'd be so grateful. Or alternatively, share with a woman, and more importantly, perhaps, that needs to hear about different ways to do money and stop struggling with this money thing, because we weren't put on this earth to struggle with money. We have too much wisdom, we have too much power, we have too much love, and a woman who stewards her money in the way that I know you all would, with more money in your hands, would do amazing things for our planet. So remember, being made for money can be fun. It could be messy, but it's so meaningful. So do join me each week, because you are made for money. All right, bye for now.